So we'll get started. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I am really excited for this conversation since we've been working with QKS and Vaishnavi over the past year on their research and just really getting to understand their vision of the market. I've been excited for this conversation. So looking forward to it today. So a couple housekeeping items. First of all, you'll see at the bottom of your screen is a question and answer tab. If at any point throughout today's conversation you have a question, just drop it in there. We'll stop along the way. We'll also leave some time at the end of today's conversation for questions as well. So with that, we'll get started. I'm Bridget Lang. I'm the VP of Marketing here at Pitcher. Excited to be joined today by Vaishnavi, who is a senior analyst at QKS Group, specializing in marketing and sales technology. Vaishnavi has led QKS's Spark Matrix assessment for Revenue Enablement Platforms, which Pitcher participated in this year. She's appeared on QKS's Expert Edge and Tech Talk shows discussing trends in digital experience and AI in sales technology. And she's the author of multiple QKS reviews, insights, market reports, you name it, across all the software technology landscape. She's a true subject matter expert in sales enablement technology. Vaishnavi, great to have you here with us.
Thank you for having me, Bridget. That was a great introduction.
Yeah, we'll get started here with talk to us a little bit about data at the center, how you view the future of enablement technology.
All right. So, what I had planned for today was I'll walk the audience as well as you through all the data that exists that gives us important information about a client that is in market, and then how to use all those insights to actually activate and convert the client into a sale, which is what is the end goal and the strategic outcome we're looking for. So, welcome everybody. Welcome to all the attendees. So glad to have you here. Today's topic is data at the center, and we're discussing the future of enablement tech and how it fits into the broader sales tech market. So, we'll start out with a data driven client intelligence, what it looks like in the B2B context. In the B2B context, we see that marketing and sales, those two functions are so very much aligned. They work towards a common goal. And in fact, in smaller organizations, these teams are always interacting with each other. They know what the other team wants, they know what the goals are, they are aligned on a strategic level. And unfortunately, the past analyst reports that have come out, maybe let's say 3-4 years ago, have just limited marketing technology to marketing technology and sales technology to sales technology, with end users divided into silos because the data itself is divided into silos like that. So I just want to introduce the audience to what is going on in the market now, how data is being leveraged in by various technologies, in especially in my focus area, what I have seen unfold. So first of all, we have to identify intent. In a B2B context, it is a very complex process to identify new leads, new accounts that might potentially be interested in working with the organization, might potentially move into the sales pipeline. But this can happen with the help of intent data. Intent data can come from multiple places. Of course, we'll get into the analysis later, but I'll just explain what else is out there when it comes to intent data. I'll start with client first party data. Every organization that has some kind of past information about their end users, what they have been interested in, how they have purchased, their purchase history, their upselling history, whatever they have been involved in, what personal requests they have had, the kind of account managers that they've worked with, what has the relationship been. This is all very crucial, valuable data. This comes from the sales channels directly. It's stored in this base layer of the CRM. And this data also comes in via maps, marketing automation platforms, via outreaches that are done either in a marketing or sales context. And we also have their web user behaviors. So this is a client's first party data. The people that visit websites, fill out forms, and inbound leads basically is all coming in this way. This directly gives us an idea of who could be in market because we know a lot about them already. But there's a gap. What about new accounts or new markets, new leads? So for this, we have in the market a lot of intent data providers. They actually collect intent signals from multiple sources. They stitch them together, they perform like an identity resolution and make sure that this multi-threading process is done so that multiple leads that match to an account can be targeted and we get a proper view of which account is in market. What is a typical intent source? News sources. If there's any mergers happening, any major vendors that are expanding, going to digital transformation, these are tracked. These are very key sources of information. Additional integrations with intent data providers and publishers. So there's your G2, there's Bambora, there's these intent data providers, there's review websites that are actually getting a ton of technographic data, firmographic data. People are reviewing the softwares they use. People are providing additional details about the other tech stack that they have. All of this. And publisher networks. Publisher networks actually are thought leaders. They publish content, and everybody visiting these websites, filling out these forms, they're showing interest in this content. It's showing interest in a certain type of subject area. And if this subject area is aligning with the product that an organization is selling, that is seen as a one of the custom criteria can be programmed to identify that and flag that particular lead as an interest. So firmographics, technographics, we have demographics. This lead to account matching process is done and account web activity is tracked. And we can then get an idea of account interest and who in the account is in the buying center and is the most active in researching particular type of topics. And next is marketing and sales intelligence databases, proprietary business databases, and user contributions. A lot of these intent data providers actually have innovative ways to collect intent data. They actually collect data directly from users, either via offerings such as freemium offerings of their own products. There is a very popular vendor called ZoomInfo. So they do this, they employ this strategy. There is a lot of, they are famous for their sales database that they have. There's Apollo, they have their own sales intelligence database. So all these databases, all these contact databases, and just a combination of all this is what intent data providers and ABM platforms actually leverage. And then all this data goes through the intent engine, custom criteria, industry specific TAM and ICP, predictive fit scoring is done. And then you have, as an end result, a clear list of priority clients or other accounts to reach out to. And of course, marketing can take this over with B2B DSPs, maps, and multiple other activation channels. They can actually take over this and display ads. Ads again provide data and enrich this map and CRM again. So this engagement data, intent data cycle is going on. It's one is enriching the other essentially. There's also a very important aspect which we will get into. You can see the sales engagement window over here in the activation ecosystem. And that is the part where sales outreach happens. Of course, some channels are listed above are used for sales outreach, like emails. Emails is a very big channel in both marketing and sales. So that is a very key channel. And there are some commonalities, some overlaps, but especially with sales, there are a few new channels that come into picture. So I'll get into that in the next slide. Okay, so this is the AI-powered revenue engine. There's a lot of talk about AI. There's a talk about this revenue engine, which is the marketing, sales, and customer success alignment that we talk about. This alignment happening via data, and AI is actually leveraging this to automate tasks, repetitive tasks, and provide higher efficiencies. So there's, like I mentioned, external data sources, very same as the previous slide. But over here, I've drilled in to the sales channels that we have. We have email, telephony, social, chat and messaging. Chat and messaging is actually a very popular channel, especially in the part of the world that I'm from, India. WhatsApp is a major channel for sales, especially. Digital sales rules. There's another one that's going to come up multiple times because we're talking about enablement, and DSRs are the key in enablement tech. Video conferencing, of course, that's a big one. So towards the left-hand side, you see the detect and decide process happening. So intent data and account-based marketing will basically process all this intent signals and give us a list of key accounts that can be handed off to sales or marketing or both. So the activation part is where revenue orchestration comes in. This is basically a well-oiled engine of engagement and intelligence working together. It's activating the accounts that have been given via sales outreach. And this is actually where you see a lot of volume of emails going out in because this is where prospecting starts, and the way a lead would progress along and the way a pipeline would progress along is essentially determined by this engagement data that's coming in. So that is why Activate is entirely revenue orchestration, which is a mix of engagement and intelligence. But with Engage, you also have, which is on the bottom right, top right corner, you have the Engage and Enable, I would like to call it, section of the process. This is where REPs fit in. As you can see, next best action recommendations and AI-enabled self-coaching, that is actually enabling the face, the center of all these processes, the rep, the account manager, to connect with the client. So that is not happening in a silo either. That is happening with the help of this conversational data. Every client interaction is a coaching opportunity. And that is why it is essential for enablement and engagement to work together as well. So we'll focus on the right hand side now, engage and activate quadrants, I would say, of this entire process. So this is the engagement, enablement, and intelligence value loop. I'll just pause here if there are any questions.
No questions yet.
All right, Bridget. I think we'll go ahead. So, as you can see, I've tried to explain in a simple way. These are just picture enablement, engagement, and intelligence as point solutions, or which used to be point solutions. Enablement was strictly for sales content management, features, as well as training and coaching, and basically enablement. Engagement was all outreach, managing sales cadences, and only restricted to that. Intelligence is we are tracking pipeline, we are tracking conversions, we are recommending actions to take with AI. So now these cannot work in a silo. As we have seen, the way the market has evolved, engagement and intelligence have actually overlapped to such an extent that this new orchestration category has arisen. So these point solutions are moving away, and sales tech is seeing a lot of capabilities that were previously isolated coming into the same platform. I'll actually show you another point. There's a conversational intelligence aspect over here. Whatever conversations are happening between a client and between anybody in the organization, it's a wealth of information. And that is why conversational intelligence, which used to be like a very isolated feature, is now, as you can see, present in both enablement and orchestration technologies, because these are used to engage with clients. These are connected to sales channels, and there are conversations happening there. So those conversations will be analyzed, and these insights are very, very powerful. So I'll show you how those are powerful. All engagement data, whether it is via email, SMS, telephone, calls, or even the data of what kind of material a client is interacting with, which deck a client is viewing, when they are viewing it, how much time they are spending, who from the buying center is looking at what content. That's essential to understand what they are really looking for. So engagement data informs intelligence. Broader context, the movement of a pipeline depends on how engagement has changed, engagement has accelerated, engagement has cooled down, so there is a pause in the sales process. It informs intelligence, period. So better intelligence results in better strategies. Essentially, only when managers and CROs and sales strategists are actually aware where there are bottlenecks in the sales process, can they fix them? So if engagement data is clean, is managed well, is interconnected with the intelligence process, only then can they manage strategies better. Better strategies are executed through stronger enablement. This is another key, and enablement technology can hence not be working in a silo. Enablement also has to learn from engagement data, and stronger enablement further drives engagement outcomes. So it's a loop, and it's a value loop that every aspect is enriching the other, every facet is enriching the other. Our strategic outcomes are, of course, we have to acquisition, retention, and expansion of customers. Customer base is our strategic objective, but customer needs cannot be neglected when we are either focusing on enhancing these technologies or focusing on consolidating any of these technologies. So a client has to be delivered with a personalized experience, with impactful, timely communication, as well as service excellence. So I'm sorry, before I move forward, I would actually like to emphasize how enablement tech has changed. So like I mentioned, analysts before me have seen very few mentions of the DSR and very few mentions of AI in enablement. However, where I've been tracking this market for the past couple of years, I have seen a lot of vendors offering this, and especially vendors are emphasizing strengthening these capabilities. A digital sales room provides that avenue for sellers to interact with clients, and it provides that intelligence to marketers and people working on sales content, engineers. What is exactly the feature or the drawback or anything like that that sellers are looking at? We're also looking at what objections they have through conversations. What do they think are risks? What are they flagging as risks when it comes to the deal in question? What are they mentioning as competitors? So, this is crucial information to prepare battle cards. And this is crucial information to guide sellers to better handle these objections. So, enablement also has realized the power of conversation. So, we've brought in into enablement this AI coaching aspect. So, there's an AI self coaching feature via enablement platforms that allows sellers to train themselves to handle these objections. And that is when we start to realize that we can actually do a dedicated market assessment on this versus just the sales enablement space, revenue enablement space with a fewer number of vendors who are far ahead in the technology when it comes to a market of, let's say, hundreds, even thousands of other players. So this is our Spark strategic performance assessment and ranking methodology. This is what our matrix looks like. This is just an example matrix. And I'm sure that Bridget could later share with the attendees maybe a link of our report on the RP 2025 Spark assessment. What we're looking for when we're assessing vendors is, first of all, we have a few criteria, which is like a revenue cutoff criteria we have, and geographic presence, industrial presence, and just the number of customers that are listed on a vendor's website that a customer caters to. And if so, we also look at the market presence, so which is what I mentioned, the proven record. How good have how consistently has a vendor performed in the market? Ease of use is something we look at. We look at reviews, customer reviews, in order to assess this. And when it comes to technology capabilities, we're looking at platform capabilities as well as differentiating factors. The capabilities are decided based on a thorough market research and understanding what vendors are offering, what is the base, what is the standard in the market that has to be there for all vendors to even feature in the matrix, and how differentiated are those capabilities. Are they offering enhanced AI features? Are they offering, such as with Pitcher, any kind of industry specific differentiations that would boost up their score and push them into the leaders further? Next is use cases again, and technology vision and strategy. This is a very key one. And it is important to assess for us how a vendor sees their own strategic direction, because a lot of vendors, they fail to innovate and they fail to grow. But in a market that's ever changing, this is something that also carries a lot of weightage in our assessment. So, yeah, with this, I just want to move on to maybe what is the final slide I want to focus on. And looking at the time, I just want to quickly pass it on to Bridget. But before that, This was our this is a basic highlights section of our analysis of Pitcher. Towards the left, you will see what criteria it is and how Pitcher differs. So the unique value proposition of Pitcher is the industry-specific customizations they have and industry-specific modules, industry-specific use cases of AI, which was very interesting to see, especially in the CPG sector, which is something I know Brigitte would love to get into. So I'll leave that to you, Brigitte. Anything that you can share to corroborate these points would greatly help. Customer engagement functionalities is another criteria that we were looking at. And Pitcher offers WhatsApp, SMS, as well as email and DM based communication, all within the seller's workflow itself, which I thought was very interesting. And especially what caught my eye was a product like this would work great, especially for busy sellers, as well as sellers working towards the Eastern geographies. So that is definitely what Indians look for, what Middle Easterners look for, these kind of communication channels, which are often overlooked by other vendors. Next, we have AI-enabled seller assistance. This is a criteria. So Pitcher Intelligent AI offers pitch practice, next best action recommendations, and as well as I've also seen during the demonstration, Pia is preparing meeting agendas. And I thought that was so impressive and so good. So that is where Pitcher scores well in our assessment of last year, as well as integration and interoperability, because there are embedded, there is option for integrating with OMS, CPQ, e-commerce systems, which actually eases the handoff. Salespeople don't have to switch to many systems or overcomplicate their workflow. They can just place orders, and this especially works for manufacturing and publishing industries, which I thought was very interesting, tying it back to the unique value proposition. Pitcher really finds what works for an industry, and then it looks at some other industry that has the same problems. What can be done in parallel to solve those problems? So very underserved industries are also looked after by these innovative solutions by Pitcher. Next is technology vision and roadmap. I won't be sharing too much about that because a lot of that was covered by our NDA. But I know that Brigitte today, I would love to see from you if you have any updated roadmap related things that you are at liberty to share. I think that would also help me and help other analysts who might be viewing this webinar. And the proven records of Pitcher, every case study that Pitcher shared, there were unique things that were highlighted, corroborate points that I had identified corroborated. So these were the reasons Pitcher emerged as one of the leaders in our assessment.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, one of the things that really stood out to our team, our Pitcher team, in working on this assessment with your group, Vaishnavi, was your forward-looking vision of this enablement technology and what we like to call sales enablement 2.0, that the industry's really moved from that 1.0 mindset to 2.0. Take note here if you want to get in touch with Vaishnavi directly. Thanks for sharing your contact info, because I'm gonna pull up a couple decks or a couple slides here. I promise I won't go on too long, but really interesting content. And I think where we are so aligned is in this sales enablement 2.0 construct, which is you have the 1.0 offering, which is that very traditional content and coaching support that sellers have become used to through their platforms. But when you add in, and QKS calls it enablement, engagement, and intelligence. And that's really what we've embodied here as well. So you've got the traditional enablement offering. You add in the intelligence components where you've got things like guided selling, personalized content at scale, as you mentioned, that with intent data, we can now personalize so much with integrations, which is the next bucket here. We can integrate with CRM and any other really component of your tech stack to bring in integrated data and content. And then that ability to create dynamic content, personalized dashboards, reports, all of that really does sort of add up to the equation of sales enablement 2.0, which really allows reps to perform at their best, helps align sales and marketing, gives them greater analytics, but really decreases the admin time that they've grown weary of So this is the Sales Enablement 2.0 construct that Pitcher uses that aligns really well with what you outlined as part of QKS's vision as well. And the amazing thing that we're seeing is that with the Sales Enablement 1.0, daily user adoption would sit in the 20% range, maybe into the 30s. We have customers that are easily 80 to 95% daily user adoption amongst their sellers. It's moved sales enablement from a nice to have to a need to have. And that's a huge shift in the use of technology. And so where do we see AI integrating in this technology, and where is it making a big difference? Well, AI integrations in sales enablement really set out to do three primary things: automate routine tasks, optimize workflows, and provide intelligent insights that help that entire engagement process. So 5 ways we're seeing that is meeting prep. You mentioned an agenda wizard. Yes, our PIA has an agenda wizard that can automate the creation of agendas using data from your CRM, helps reps prepare for their meetings by meeting scripts and up-to-date content, that kind of thing. Post-meeting follow-up, again, AI can generate automated meeting summaries. It can create next best action items. It can generate notes. We've all seen the impact of this just in our virtual meetings, but when you take it to the next level where it creates the next best action on that account, it's a huge time saver. Knowledge base. So when you have a knowledge base that you can query, AI can help drive document search and provide contextual answers. So really answers that are leveraging the data that you're tapping into through the platform. We have what's called PIA, the Pitcher Intelligent Agent. You can ask PIA via chat interface questions, and PIA will help that AI-powered generated responses. Content processing and design. So again, Vaishnavi, you mentioned digital sales rooms, DSRs. AI has just only made those better. So you can create layouts, and you can ensure brand compliance, slide development, analysis. This is AI-assisted analysis of presentations so that content is all personalized and relevant and up to date. And then lastly, app marketplace. And this is something that is really important to our customers on our platform, that the app marketplace enables specific customer use cases. So we can create an app that our customers can use, that maybe it's a scheduler app that integrates with their CRM. Maybe it's a recommendation app. Maybe it's an app that is an in-store lift calculator. But these apps can be integrated right into the platform to really help specific use cases that customers have. So it's ways every day that AI in the technology can really make a seller's daily job easier. So what does all that do? What is the experience then like? Well, a couple things that we hear kind of all boil down to allowing the rep to have instant readiness. So, the reps show up, they're instantly able to pull up the right document or respond to a pricing question because everything is at their fingertips. Again, another quote we've heard recently, that the most recent and relevant resources are always available. Doesn't matter if it's complex topics, all the resources are at their fingertips. I love this, just the idea of prepping for a pitch that took 10 minutes now takes 30 seconds. Extrapolate that out over a week and a month and a year. That's a significant time savings. I'm going to play one little clip here from a previous webinar that we did with our partners at Mondelez.
And now that we have been live with this tool for, I want to say about 6-7 months now, we're starting to be able to see those results at a national level and then share those out with teams on, hey, when we're using Pitcher consistently and we're having those quality fact-based selling conversations, here's how those territories and those stores are performing versus ones where we're not leveraging these tools at. And the results are pretty impressive, honestly. There's a couple of times Remy and I have looked at them and I'm like, I think I need to pull this again. No, this can't be right. It can't be that big of a gap between the two, but
it's incredible.
Really it is. Yeah, so that's been a huge help with getting the last few on board there, helping them see, hey, if I had used this consistently the way that I've laid out and it's simple to use, I could have made that number or I could have exceeded my objective.
Just love hearing the impact it can bring to the day-to-day life. And then you asked the question, will I be able to share some roadmap items that we have here at Pitcher? You bet. I'm excited to share some of our roadmap items. As you can imagine, our roadmap is long and full of innovation and exciting new developments, but a couple that we're excited to bring out here. Human app interaction with intelligent CTAs. So this is one-click execution. When a rep has a task that needs to be done, a single button can do that task. For example, I need to drop X amount of samples for Y account. Clicking one button will allow that whole process to begin. I need to send X email to Y with this task. All of that will be done through a single click rather than going into the app, typing the email, finding the sender or finding the recipient, clicking send. All of that can be done in one-click execution. So again, using an AI agent to really help with that process, and then just that human confirmation as a final check. Voice-driven navigation. So you speak to a certain area of the platform, you search for something specific, or you want to edit notes on an account. All of that can be done driven by voice. Intelligent call planner. You give the parameters to the app of what you're looking for this week, and it will help you plan your entire week's calls or meetings. Super exciting here, from route to priorities to schedules, all of it. And then this enhanced AR VR experience is also really cool. So we're bringing even more sophistication to the AR and VR capabilities that we offer, but it's all, again, data at the center. So with, if let's say you're a CPG, you go into the store, Pitcher's AR capabilities will show the display in a particular spot through AR, and then the data will be available right on the tablet or right on your iPad on, let's say, what sales lift you could expect by that display in that location. So some really exciting new roadmap items coming out. And another new product launch that we've got, and in fact, this is launching just next week, so a sneak preview on that, is Pitcher Pathways, which is a web-based AI-powered solution that allows reps and advisors to create personalized, dynamic content at scale. So we see a large need for this in financial services, for instance, where this is a live data connected presentation accessible via the web. So it can be live updated at any time, but still set within the brand and regulatory compliance standards that the organization needs to have. So that's a product we're really excited to launch next week. So a few things coming on our side. And that brings me to the end of our roadmap conversation. I did want to leave a couple minutes for questions here at the end. And I know I have a question for you, Vaishnavi. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on what role the agents will play, AI agents will play in sales technology moving forward.
Yes, Bridget, that's a great question. So how I have seen it being used is specifically in the first part, like I said, in the orchestration space, especially with SDRs automating their workflows, completely taking over from what account data is coming in, and outbound prospecting is happening all automated, and even follow-ups are automated. And all of that is taken care of by agentic AI. However, if I have to talk about enablement specifically, what I have seen is in two aspects. I've seen it in the coaching aspect as well as the content management. So, like I mentioned, conversational analysis has become very much deeper. So, what I've also seen in a different market is there are literally AI avatars sitting in calls and talking on behalf of the agent, or listening in on conversations and suggesting things to either the client itself or the sales reps. But in enablement, I see a very good opportunity here when it comes to content as well as coaching aligning with the AI. So I see AI agents taking DSRs and turning them dynamic. So what we've seen in the market, also this conversation has already started, is DSRs are now being used to proactively send out whatever content is essential at that moment for a client. And of course, we have mutual action plans that are prepared, all done by AI, all automated. So during a conversation, if a client happens to mention a certain feature that they are interested in, immediately in-call assistance happens and that content is recommended, pulled, that data is pulled and it is shown as a part of the call itself. So it is immediate, it is in-call assistance for the seller so that the seller doesn't miss out on anything. And the client queries are answered a lot faster. And then apart from this, there's also, like I mentioned, automatic outreach, timely communication is what a client really expects. So, in case sellers have a lot of things to look to handle, and sometimes certain things are missed out. So, earlier AI would recommend this is the email that you send out, but now AI actually sends that out and gets a follow up and suggests, okay, this is the next step, and also
Amazing.
follows that up.
Yeah,
And
amazing.
yeah, that's the DSR part, and that's the client facing part of it. There's also agentic AI in coaching. So this is completely going to take over the role of, let's say, the very micromanaging coaching role that a manager used to have. Managers, it's impossible for them to go through like the many client calls and identify every single mistake. So AI will do that, and AI will immediately, it goes into such depth, the demos that I have seen. It can even say that you did not press and ask the client what their needs are. You didn't do that enough. So that's something that also comes up. And even though the question was asked, the intensity was probably not that much, or you didn't probe for certain information. That's something that AI brings up. So that is timely coaching, that is instant feedback, and that is something that the seller can incorporate into their learning immediately after the call. And then, of course, based on this, there are certain micro assessments that AI recommends, all automatic. And of course, the AI can loop in the manager wherever relevant, wherever it feels that there is better ROI to have that manager in the
Right.
loop of the training.
Yeah.
This is very exciting for
It is
enablement
very
discussion.
exciting. Yeah. And it all boils down to that data that powers every bit of that. That data at the center is really what the future, I think, what the future of this industry really is all about. So,
For sure, Brittany. It is.
let me make sure we don't have any questions here. And please feel free to get in touch with me or Vaishnavi directly for further conversation or questions. But I think that's all we've got for the day. So thank you everybody for joining us today. Really appreciate having you all here. Really insightful conversation, kind of from the marketing all the way through to sales and what comes next in enablement technology. Vaishnavi, thank you again for lending us your wisdom and subject matter expertise today. It was really fun having this conversation.
Thank you so much, Bridget. And I really look forward to connecting with Pitcher soon for the next assessment and getting into more details of all the product updates that have happened. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, we are as well. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you to all the attendees. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.